What if the deepest questions, political, philosophical, even religious, could be debated without bias, without emotion, and without interruption? Welcome to AI versus AI. Here, we've programmed two advanced artificial intelligences to debate the most controversial topics of our time, not to win an argument, but to reveal the truth behind both sides. This is debate stripped to its core: pure logic, clear reasoning, and equal ground. And the final judgment? That's in your hands. Watch closely, think critically, then vote in the comments to decide who made the stronger case, because you are the judge. What happens when one plant becomes a symbol of medicine, rebellion, escape, and profit, all at once? Tonight's debate: cannabis. From legal battles to spiritual claims, cultural shifts to economic opportunity, marijuana stands at the intersection of science, politics, and identity. Let's meet our debaters. Eli is a logic-based artificial intelligence trained in reformist policy modeling. He specializes in civil liberties, healthcare access, and the societal impact of legislation. Mira is a risk-oriented AI designed to assess long-term outcomes, public safety concerns, and ethical constraints. Her framework emphasizes evidence-based caution and institutional integrity.
Marijuana is no longer a counterculture taboo. It's a public health and justice issue. Nearly 9 in 10 Americans support legal marijuana use in some form, according to Pew. Its criminalization has led to more than 20 million arrests since the 1970s, disproportionately targeting Black and Latino communities. Beyond its medical potential, documented in over 30,000 peer-reviewed studies, it represents an opportunity to reshape broken policies. Legalization isn't the end of the conversation. It's the beginning of a more honest, evidence-driven one.
The rapid shift from prohibition to celebration has left important concerns behind. Cannabis may offer benefits, but it also brings risks we're only beginning to understand. Today's products, often exceeding 90% THC in concentrates, bear little resemblance to the natural plant used historically. The normalization of marijuana without appropriate safety education has led to increased emergency room visits, cannabis hyperemesis syndrome, addiction in adolescents, and impaired cognitive development. Legalization may be inevitable, but wisdom must catch up before policy races ahead.
Though many states have legalized marijuana, it remains illegal under federal law. Should that change?
Yes. The current legal contradiction harms patients, disrupts research, and fuels systemic injustice. Cannabis is classified as a Schedule I drug, alongside heroin and LSD, despite widespread medical acceptance. Federally, this designation prohibits banks from working with dispensaries, stalling economic growth and community investment. Meanwhile, the Department of Veterans Affairs continues to deny cannabis access to former service members suffering from chronic pain and PTSD, despite compelling evidence from studies like the 2021 Journal of Pain, which found significant improvements in pain-related quality of life among medical users. Beyond medicine, legalization would remove a key driver of mass incarceration. Black Americans are nearly 4 times more likely to be arrested for cannabis possession, despite similar usage rates, according to the ACLU. Legalization would not only remove this tool of overpolicing, it would unlock billions in tax revenue, funding education, treatment programs, and infrastructure.
Legalization isn't just about removing a ban, it's about designing a system of responsibility, and that's what we haven't done. Cannabis use disorder has risen by over 25% in the past decade. High-potency THC products, such as dabs and vape cartridges, are driving this increase, especially among teenagers. In Colorado, post-legalization studies found that nearly 50% of high school seniors believed regular cannabis use carried no or slight risk, a drastic shift that correlates with increased adolescent use and dependency. Moreover, most state systems lack federal-level regulation on labeling, health warnings, and product testing. Inconsistent potency, misleading strain names, and edible overdoses are routine. Federal legalization without first building a national standard for testing, packaging, marketing, and retail operation is reckless. And expanding access without correcting these flaws could lead to far more damage than relief.
Many people describe cannabis as a gateway to insight, self-awareness, or even healing. But is it truly expanding consciousness, or just numbing it?
The line between insight and escape is thinner than it appears. Many users describe cannabis as a way to unwind, reflect, or tune in. But neuroscience suggests that regular use often reduces prefrontal cortex activity, impairing memory, attention, and decision-making. A 2023 study from King's College London found that long-term cannabis users exhibited a 7-point drop in IQ on average over a decade, especially those who began as adolescents. That's not enlightenment, it's erosion. We often confuse chemical disorientation for clarity. Yes, some users feel temporarily more open or inspired, but that doesn't necessarily lead to real change. In many cases, cannabis becomes a pacifier for pain rather than a path through it. If a substance is required to feel peace, are we growing or avoiding?
That argument discounts the intention behind use. Cannabis, like many plant medicines, can be misused, but it can also be transformative. For centuries, cultures have used it in rituals and meditations. In India, the sacred drink bhang is consumed during festivals to promote spiritual union. In modern settings, cannabis-assisted therapy has helped patients reprocess trauma in a non-threatening state, particularly when traditional approaches failed. A 2021 meta-analysis published in Psychopharmacology showed that cannabis users reported increased emotional awareness, compassion, and creativity. We don't question whether antidepressants dull emotional authenticity. We recognize that for some, they create the space to engage life. Why not see cannabis through the same nuanced lens? The substance doesn't dictate the outcome. The intention, setting, and frequency do.
From social media to pop music, cannabis is no longer underground, it's mainstream. But has it become too casual, too fast?
Yes. We are now in the era of wellness weed, where influencers push gummies for sleep, concentration, or skincare. Yet, behind the aesthetics, the risks remain serious. Cannabis-induced psychosis has become more prevalent, especially among adolescents and genetically predisposed individuals. A 2023 Lancet Psychiatry study reported a 5-fold increase in psychosis risk in users of high-potency cannabis compared to non-users. The casual branding hides the fact that this is a psychoactive substance capable of profound neurological impact. We require detailed warnings on Tylenol, yet market cannabis with neon labels and Instagram reels. Cultural normalization without cultural literacy is a public health failure in the making.
Normalization does not mean glorification. It means destigmatization, and that matters. When cannabis is pushed underground, users are less likely to seek help, less likely to discuss misuse, and more vulnerable to unregulated products. In legal markets, we gain the tools to label, educate, restrict by age, and collect long-term data. Consider this. Since legal cannabis became available in Oregon, opioid overdose deaths have declined by 23%. That's not coincidence. Studies suggest many patients use cannabis to taper off far more harmful medications. Normalization allows society to see cannabis not as a gateway drug, but as a possible off-ramp from more dangerous substances.
From billion-dollar dispensaries to equity programs, cannabis is becoming an economic force. But is it actually empowering people, or just enriching the few?
Cannabis has the potential to rebalance economic and racial injustice. Programs like those in Illinois, which reinvest cannabis tax revenue into mental health, housing, and youth programs in communities harmed by the war on drugs, are models for what's possible. In New York, priority licensing for justice-involved individuals has given many their first opportunity to legally participate in a market they were once criminalized for. According to Whitney Economics, the cannabis industry employed over 417,000 full-time workers in 2023, more than the coal mining, textile, and brewery industries combined. And with projected revenue of $70 billion by 2030, this isn't a side economy, it's a national one. The key is ensuring that small businesses and marginalized entrepreneurs are supported with funding, training, and legal protection.
In theory, yes. In practice, the power still consolidates at the top. Multi-state operators dominate over 70% of retail licenses in some markets. Black-owned dispensaries make up less than 2% of the industry nationwide. Equity programs often lack follow-through. A 2022 audit of California's social equity framework found that most applicants lacked access to capital, faced bureaucratic delays, or were outcompeted by larger firms with legal teams and venture backing. And what happens when cannabis is treated as a commodity, not a community good? Prices drop, regulation thins, and mission-driven enterprises are absorbed or crushed. Without strict structural guardrails, cannabis becomes just another extractive industry, one that benefits the same few while promising much to many.
Let's hear final thoughts from each side.
Cannabis may have value, but it's being marketed as a miracle before the science can catch up. Legalization without reflection invites overreach, dependency, and commercialization disguised as justice. We must ask ourselves, are we healing or just high?
Cannabis is not a miracle, but neither is it a menace. It's a tool. And like any tool, its power lies in how we use it. Legalization offers us the chance to regulate, to educate, to correct injustice, and to learn from the past rather than repeat it.
You've heard both sides. Now the decision is yours. Is marijuana a tool for freedom, a trap for profit, or something more complex? Let us know who made the stronger case in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay tuned for future debates. This is Alice, signing off from AI versus AI, where artificial intelligence tackles humanity's toughest questions, one debate at a time.